Hi, this is the answer lady. Just like you, my knitting sometimes has mistakes in it, but I know how to fix them, and after you watch this, you will too. Have a look. Here's what would be a perfectly nice hat made on the Addy, except there are some mistakes in it. Don't worry about this stuff up here, that's just where I'm gathering off the crown and have not finished on purpose so as to fix the mistakes. This here is what happens when a loop of yarn fails to knit off for one or more rows, and it can look really awful or just a little bit awful, but in any case it keeps your knitting from being a really nice hat. However, notice that when I gathered the crown off, I skipped the loop that's at the top of the bad column of stitches, and now I'm going to purposely ravel it down, freeing all of the rungs of the ladder until we get to normal stitches. And from this point and below, everything looks just fine. Now here's what we need to fix it. Either a latch tool, you can make one like this using my book, Cool Tools for Machine Knitters, or a crochet hook of a suitable size. I like the latch tool because I'm used to it. So catch the last good stitch and begin latching up. This is exactly the same thing that we would do if we had allowed a column of stitches to run accidentally. And in fact, this hat has that problem, and we'll fix that in a minute. When we do, it will be a delightful hat. Now, if you don't know latching up, let's go over this slowly. I've got one loop on the tool, whichever tool. Let's switch tools so you get the experience of both. One loop on my crochet hook now. Oops, that's the wrong loop, sorry. This is the correct loop. Find the next rung on the ladder, go behind it, behind being towards the purl side, grab it and pull it through. Now you have a new loop on. Behind, grab and pull through, all the way up the column of stitches. They may look a bit odd at first because you've been tugging on them. See how mine look large? Oops, I didn't grab that one just right. Don't split the yarn. Okay. But when you give them a lengthwise pull, they'll settle in and be the same as the others. Now, I've left my gathering thread and a huge needle on here. Just for your information, this is an upholstery needle for putting buttons on cushions, and sometimes people find it useful for putting in gathering threads. Now I can just catch that loop to keep it from falling away while we fix the other problem. Where did it go? Where did it go? I know it's here. Voila. You will note that I also failed to bind off on purpose the top loop from the bad column of stitches, or the ones that had a dropped stitch way down. And again, we're going to ravel it down, creating a ladder of rungs to latch up. But this one's going to have a little bit of a challenge because we've got some fair isle here and we have to keep that correct. Okay, here's a good stitch. I've changed tools. This is a latch tool that came with some hobby machines, so you might find one around. We'll start latching up just normally. Under, pull the rung through, under, pull the rung through. The first 3 rows of this fair isle segment are all green. I know that from memory, and also I can tell by looking at the row next to me. Now here's the question. Orange or green this time? But you can see it should be green. So we'll pick up that. Ignore the orange, that's a float. And don't miss the next correct green. And all the way up to the top. When I get to the top, I need to run the gathering thread through this one too. Now here's the thing, the gathering thread is going smoothly through 46 stitches in a row, skipping these 2, and if I pull it back through these 2, it won't pull tight smoothly, So what I'll probably do off camera is remove the thread from these two where it's just holding them, possibly put them on safety pins so they don't get away from me, draw in the thread and knot it, and then pick up these two columns of stitches, draw in the thread again and knot it. You'll never be able to tell the difference, and that will help me avoid a snarl in pulling in the gathering thread. Or I can actually just leave this column of stitches sitting on the tool. See you in a minute when this is done. Alright, my hat crown is gathered in and knotted off, except for these two stitches. So I'll just pick them up on my latch tool in this case. Pull a loop through them, pull again, and then a little adjusting, a little bit of knotting to secure the hat top, and we'll be good. Now I want to show you something unrelated to what we're discussing. This is related to Fair Isle. People have seen my Fair Isle video and agreed that it looks cool but is a lot of trouble, which it is. But do you notice how much drama we're getting from one single row of it? This is just every other needle, but with 3 rows below and 4 rows above of the plain green in a variegated yarn. It's pretty dramatic for, I don't know, I don't think it even added 5 extra minutes of work to this hat. So it's something to consider. And here's the finished hat with all its ends neatened up. It's impossible to tell that this hat ever had any problems.